Sorry if this doesn't sound like poetry. Poetry is too pretty to describe the evil of this time. Poetry is too pretty to transcribe my thoughts surrounding this vile act of white violence. Poetry is too pretty to align with the reality that this happens every day, that this has never stopped happening, that people have come to accept this with no hint of surprise. If your blood isn't boiling, why? If your insides are not wrapping themselves into a tighter knot every time you read another article or see another black life get destroyed by the evil of whiteness, why? If you think this is a normal occurrence, that this is something that just happens, that this is an act carried out to protect us, that they deserve it, then ask yourself why. Because racism runs in your veins. It runs in all our veins, and then when we don't confront it or try to unlearn it, it bleeds out. It bleeds out and spills on our streets. It bleeds out and fills the circles of the privileged elite. It bleeds out and coats the images we see, the words that we read, the air that we breathe. It bleeds out and suffocates the young black man who was caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's the headline, but in reality, it could have happened at any moment, at any time. It bleeds out and smothers the face of the young black boy who was playing soldiers with a toy gun just like anyone his age, but his innocence was taken from him because of the colour of his skin, and suddenly a real bullet was heading straight towards him. It bleeds and drowns out the voices of black women who cry for their husband, who scream for their son, who shout, "Stop, please." It bleeds out, but we don't see it. We see the blood of black men, but we don't feel it. Our blood all bleeds red, but we focus on the colours that paint our complexion. We all bleed red, but we believe we have the right to decide who is allowed to breathe and when. We all bleed red, but instead of uniting in our strengths, we continue to fight an unprovoked soul until they are dead. Imagine how fast your heart must beat when your life is like a ticking clock. Imagine living every day like it could be cut short just for being black. I say imagine, but I can't imagine that. I can never imagine how that would feel, but I know that no one should ever have to live with such fear. I know that no one should have the power to steal someone else's life. I know no one should ever be made to feel like they are not allowed self-pride, to be treated like criminals by the very people their parents told them to hide from when they were a small child. Silence takes the lead role in white violence. Unless we speak out, white people are complicit in the spread of racism which moves within us like a disease. Until we start to realize that, until we start to criticize ourselves, our present, and our history, we will never develop a vaccine. Question your bias. Ask yourself why. George Floyd couldn't breathe. He could not breathe.